I'm a business owner, but I want less of that. And most certainly less of that. Isn't that like, does that two go together? In my opinion, not. Having a business that is both for having your own business, being in business, being employed somewhere else, starting at a new company, working on your career, whatever it is, online is an asset. I know for many people it is considered a pain in the. And this is something that I, on the one hand, can totally relate to, because against, like I might look young and shiny, but I'm actually not a digital native. I also was very concerned, also a bit stubborn about the possibilities of the online world. And why was this? Because the first time that I was introduced to online and to social media was for private purpose. And that, yes, on the one hand, to get connected with friends all over the world, but was mainly also because so many people were bragging, were out there posting about their most private things, something that did not give me any value, something that where I wouldn't want to have a part in it, and something where I certainly did not want to put my business and my brand name Malish next to it. But that has shifted. For once, founding 3 years ago, it was already kind of obvious, but also because we realized there's no other way, or the options, like doing it the old way, they're just not as comfortable as we think they are. And this year and the last year, we could all learn the benefits. But now, as we run out of the pandemic, like there's a longing to go back to what used to be the old way of doing business, of reconnecting. Of course, I can relate to that, and I'm not any other than most of you. But I still want to share my piece of advice on how else to look at it, on how maybe not to see online and social media as a burden, but actually as an asset. So why do I even think about, talking about this, having a subject, and also consulting about this? This is due to the fact that Lily and I, when we founded Malish, we went on the so-called journey of founding a business in a digitalized world. It's clear to us that we wanted to have an international business, that Germany was going to be our base, but we wanted to venture out and make use of the fact that there are 8 billion people on this earth. Nowadays, of course, it comes kind of handy, because having not the whole world, at your fingertips, and not being able, go to Frankfurt airport in 20 minutes, we have to think of others. We have to think of digital means. And along this journey, Lily and I realized that we can actually help many people for their career, but mainly for their business, and especially solo entrepreneurs, to put a different aspect on the whole subject, especially if you are in business. And due to the fact that I have so many discussions actually talking about online, justifying LinkedIn to a certain degree, where I don't even have shares and no say of what's going on, but I'm still advocating LinkedIn. So I thought I'd take this opportunity and to dedicate my LinkedIn live to just a few facts and maybe be able to clear a few myths that you have. So first of all, I would really like to talk about the past, the good old past, so to say. I'm often confronted saying, oh, well, that's a lot of work, like having a profile, building your network, posting, follow up, acquiring customers, then having a sales channel, a follow-up system. Yes, but how did we do business in the past? I recently talked to an organization, like a pro bono organization, or it could be just a local swimming or football club. So how was it done in the past? And what is customer acquisition for me is, of course, getting new members and maybe getting a really talented athlete to join our team and leave the other team. So that is also marketing and branding and advertising and selling ourselves. So in the past, and I know it myself because I've been through many of the club structures. So you spend your whole weekends cooking, baking, selling cookies, cakes to the community. You go to carnivals, you sell carnival tickets, or that the club finances get stronger and that you can actually pay for training camps, do meaningful work. Some pro bono clubs here in Frankfurt, they sell Christmas trees and so on. And that comes at a price, at a cost, and especially at a time investment. But because we've always known that, and we're used to go down the Christmas market and see, oh, well, here's that club, and they're selling the cookies or even glühwein or what. We're so used to that we forget all the struggle that we actually put into getting customers. The other day, I was walking down the street and there was Amnesty International hitting on people in the street trying to sell them something. I watched it for a while, 0 results. So was that really good? Was that really easy? I would say no. And I'd like to inspire you to look at online as an extension and potentially as a substitute for all the hustle you're doing, for following up, chasing the wrong customers, and only finding out, like once you put a lot of effort, a lot of energy in it, that he or she is not your ideal customer. So that the swim star would never leave his club, or that the customer would, rather do something on Xing than in my case on LinkedIn. And the sooner you can find that out and the more you can scale that and talk to many people at the same time, the more profitable it is, I would say. Doesn't that make sense? I'm sure it does. So what online can do, it allows you to present yourself, and not next to an influencer, not next to the one that portrays his or her meal. Of course, there are platforms out there, but there are other platforms that are also for business. And by the way, does it hurt to also show a little bit about yourself? Yeah, I'm used to, like I sometimes post about, my family. I also mention how it was to recover from cancer. That is my way of showing myself how I am, how I take life's challenges, and how I turn this into the positive. And I believe that also my customers resonate with me as a person, because anyone can do startup coaching. Not anyone, but obviously many people can do startup coaching. Many people can do LinkedIn coaching. But the way I do it, only I can do it. Maybe Lily, because we run the same company. But that's it. So I'm unique, and I just need to find a place where to put it and where people can see it. So, everyone has a homepage now. So people are saying, well, okay, I got a homepage. But that's like 20 years ago, it was good to have a homepage. Today, you should go somewhere where people are, and people will hardly ever just stumble across your webpage. It's like if you have your shop not down the main road, the tile in Frankfurt, but some hidden off-road, like no one ever goes there. The rent is cheap, but you also make no business. And same most likely with your homepage. So you need to go places where people are gathering. And this, for example, are platforms like LinkedIn with 700 something million people worldwide. And even if we just talk about our little German speaking environment, it's still 16 million. So place yourself there. That's for starters. And what I also like about the new way of doing business, it's like I can create a desire with people who did not even know they had the desire. What do I mean by that? I always like to go back to reality, because what we do online is basically just a reflection of what we do offline, because we're still people after all. So take my example to offline. I'm walking down the street, again, a beautiful Zeil in Frankfurt. Going my way, maybe, I got an appointment somewhere or I want to go shopping. Imagine, of course, this is a time without a pandemic. So I'm walking down the street and someone is approaching me, not really approaching me, but walking by. And she's having an ice cream. And I'm thinking, ice cream? It's May already. I'm sure I can have an ice cream. Then I look around, maybe I ask her, I look around and say, okay, well, this must be that ice cream shop over there. I did not know I wanted an ice cream until I saw someone having an ice cream. And then it was super convenient because there was like a billboard outside of it. Then I checked it. It had a beautiful, window. Everything was presented very nicely. There was a huge queue. People were lining up to get that ice cream. What do? I stand in line and I wait until it's my turn to get the ice cream. Now take this picture on an online platform and let's take LinkedIn. Why not? So people are on their way doing their business, getting inspiration, reading the daily news, checking their favorite academic paper about news and stuff, or even checking out what their former colleague is about and doing right now. So, and while they're browsing off to somewhere else, like your ice cream pops up. Your ice cream could be an ice cream, but it could also be a manufacturing good. It could be your coaching, your consulting. It could be your book. It could be you advertising that you have a free vacancy or that you always wanted to teach at a university. So that can be placed in front of a large audience and you can trigger a desire. People then say, okay, well, yeah, I actually have a vacancy at my university. How about I check this person out who was just announcing and saying, well, I've got a lot of spare time. I'd like to teach at a university. So the next step is the breadcrumbs to the billboard, so to say. So this is how you appear, like what kind of profile picture you have and how your slogan looks like. And then one step further, people actually navigate to your profile, they open it up, and they see what we call the business card. So this is the shop front. Does it make a good impression? Then people say, okay, well, let's enter or even stay in line. And the more interesting your profile is, the more activity there is. In the sense of you post, you have a lot of connections. It's obviously that people endorse you and that you're a good and legitimate person. The more traffic you can create. And there is no limit of scaling that. So this is the potential, and that some people do not notice when they come to me and ask for LinkedIn support. They rightly look at me and say, well, I'd like what you're having. You've got so many followers, you know how to present yourself, you know how to nicely turn it into business. Yeah, well, I can help you, I can assist you, but I cannot go the way for you. So, and for me, the easiest way to understand like why and what I'm doing it for is to look at it from the end perspective. So if you're sick and tired of calling up people, of getting hung upon, of people finding excuses, or you pitching them, following up, then finally on a call they admit that they don't have the money, they don't trust you, or it's just not the right time. If you can avoid all of that and filter out the people that are really, that should be part of your network. So either because you want to hang out with them, you want to do business with them, you want to inspire them or get inspired by them, all those different aspects. Find a job, find a teaching position at a university. If you know that is doable, then I think it's possible to do the necessary steps. And there are steps that you need to do. It's as simple as that. It all starts with a good profile. Because why would you lead all the breadcrumbs leading to you? And then leaving people disappointed because there is no ice cream. Yeah, it's not looking attractive. So having a good profile, then having a network, because how do you want to get visible if no one knows you? And you need connections to scale to become visible. And there's such an authentic way of doing it. I cannot tell you how many people tell me, well, I don't accept connection invitation. I don't reach out. Or they say, well, I would, but I don't know why. Like I've got this thing holding me back. Again, it's a final tip that I want to close off this session. Again, go back to real life. How would you react? So let's say someone approaches you. Would you be rude? Do you judge someone by the cover, by his nose or whatever? Or are you saying, well, I'm in the setting where I'm open to network, meaning in real life at a business event, online being active on LinkedIn. I'm there in the setup. So why would I go somewhere where I don't want to be part of? It's like I don't go to a bar that is smokers only and I don't smoke. I don't go there because there are other places. So having a presence on LinkedIn is the indicator that you want to be contacted. So think about it, check out the profile, and given the benefit of the doubt, and add that person. Be bold and ask back, I don't see any connection. Like, why do you want to be connected with me? If you want. You want to reach out and you say, well, how do I connect? I'm saying always with a connection message. It's the same again in real life. You don't hit on people. You don't just smash them with your offer. You introduce yourself. You let them know why you think they're interesting, why you think there would be an added value to your network, and why you'd like to continue this discussion further. It's exactly the same as in real life. Also, if someone approaches you, interact and say something. People are so insecure, and often people reach out and they try to sell you something because they don't know any better. Because people are all over the place trying to, or thinking they must make changes and have massive success online. And, I'm talking about scalability. And of course, other people are too. And of course, then it might be tempting for some to just say, well, if I have the means, if I can contact everyone and selling them tissues just because they have a nose, then of course, say, well, why not say, well, the poor girl, the poor guy, just tell them, no, thank you, no, you're barking up the wrong tree, and that's that. So this is really what I want to leave you with: an openness to networking, an openness to new possibilities, and don't think that online is going to go away. Like the pandemic did its part to transform it and to scale it and escalate it, but it's going to be part of our business, and it should. Independently of whether you do now everything offline, all your customers are offline, you struggle with online, you struggle with Zoom, you struggle with typing with your 10 fingers, it is worth the journey because that's where things are going. And you can be like my grandmother, who 20 years ago decided, I don't need a computer. I'm not gonna make it. I'm 70 years old. Guess what? She's 93. She seems to be stronger than ever. She's mentally fit. She's capable of caring for herself. And when she sits alone at home, and she's told me that many times, she says, it would be so good if I had this computer thing, if I could connect with you, if I could have a video call with you, or my sister just had a baby, so like she's 2 weeks old. It would be great to see her growing. I also like to see when you go abroad or when you have a public speaking somewhere. I'd like to join that, and she can't. 20 years ago, it might have seemed totally irrational not to be online, but that's certainly a thing of the past. So what the computer and my grandma used to be 20 years ago is, of course, us now having online tools and systems for our business. So let's make use of it. If you struggle with LinkedIn, if you want to get started really, really soft, why not download our 10 LinkedIn tips, which can be downloaded if you go to mileage.global/LinkedIn-10-tips, and we'll take it from there. Or if you say, I already know, Maike, I need you, don't hesitate to reach out and directly hit the LinkedIn minus offer page. Thank you for joining me on this session, why online and social media is not a curse and why it can be the solution to your business. I'll see you next week on another live.